what does it mean for the Loyalists who returned at the conclusion of hostilities? I propose that we consider individuals like the shoemakers, for during the American Revolution, identities, both imperial and personal, were thrown into confusion. In my study of Philadelphia, the Patriot inhabitants were no longer British subjects after the Declaration of Independence, but they were not yet citizens of a new polity. Those who chose, instead, to remain subjects to the British Empire faced evacuation at the conclusion of the occupation, the destruction and seizure of their property, exile, but also the loss of their local identity. In the chaos of war, they attempted to defend their property and their positions, but often found themselves fleeing the persecution of patriots, people with whom they'd done business or exchanged favors for as neighbors. An examination of the shoemaker family during the Revolution, how they were treated, what they lost, the conditions of their exile, and the terms by which some of them returned, reveals much about how patriots forged the parameters of American citizenship. This process of exclusion, aided by requirements of loyalty oaths and enforced through property confiscation, helped the former colonists claim a new citizenship as something other than members of the British Empire. However, this body of citizens could only be created during the revolutionary struggle and under conditions of separation from the empire. The process of identifying, seizing, and the selling of Loyalist property became part of the process of exclusion, as well as one of the foundations for creating new American citizens. The process of excluding Loyalists during a long period of war and then defining their place in the new republic then is absolutely key to understanding how American citizens began to understand themselves. The shoemaker's example illustrates how the gradual definition of rights and obligations for patriots was made possible only by this presence of a Loyalist other. Though the term American citizen is quite vague and undefined during this time, it did not include the shoemakers or others with known Loyalist sympathies. Indeed, the presence of declared Loyalists in the city underscored that while patriots did not yet know precisely what a citizen was, they were clear about whom was outside of this emerging definition of a citizen.